This is our agenda this morning. We're going to talk about some of the benefits of volunteering, and I'm hoping that those of you who've joined today have already got a bit of a background in volunteering and engaging with your community. We want to talk specifically about strategic volunteering and what that might look like for you. And then I'm going to present a few ideas and resources for you to start to engage with the community around you once you have figured out which areas you want to hone into best. So let's get started talking about some of the benefits of volunteering. And I'm very certain that for most people, we are involved in our community in a number of ways. The idea behind volunteering is not just solely about building connection or giving back to your community, but especially from a student perspective, you want to consider how am I making more connections in industry? How am I building out my network? How am I building out references? Specifically for students who are coming from other places in the world, volunteering can be an opportunity to create a network here locally outside of your student group. And that's really, really important because there's no doubt that you're going to be working quite closely with your cohort and you'll get quite close with your cohort during the time that you're at Royal Roads. But from a perspective of wanting to transition that experience into professional work in the future, volunteering can help you do that. It can help you really build out that network. And you may not have that network here if you're coming from someplace else. So it's an opportunity to do that here. Um, Many of our programs at Royal Roads are very applied in their learning. It is an opportunity also for you to figure out how you can apply that learning in industry and maybe in the industry that you want to pursue in the future to learn more about what kinds of experiences exist in terms of real work, to learn what people are doing, some of the challenges they might be experiencing. It can help you as well to start to target some of your research papers potentially or your capstone projects potentially. These are all ways that you can start to connect to the industry that you want to work in the future and learn about that industry in the future as well. And overall, it should give you a sense of personal fulfillment. I think what's really important, though, is that you also understand that while you're within your program, you may only have so much capacity or so much space to be giving back to the community or working in the community. This is a piece that you maybe only have limited time, and so you'll want to explore what does that look like. Does that mean that I'm doing short-term volunteering or over the course of 4 months? Maybe I can allocate a certain amount of time because this quarter that I'm working in is maybe not quite as busy as the next quarter looks like it's going to be. So you do have to take stock of where you're at within your student capacity and perhaps you have families here as well. So think about that piece. But it can be a great way for you to build out some general knowledge about what industry is doing here locally, and then being able to apply those skills and bring that back to the classroom. So I've talked already a little bit about what strategic volunteering is, but does anybody have any ideas? What do you think strategic volunteering is actually? You might want to raise your hand in the chat, or please take the mic. I'd be happy to hear your ideas. And I don't think there's really a wrong answer here, so don't be afraid to bring that up if you'd like in the chat, if you don't feel comfortable taking the mic or by the mic. Any ideas?
Yeah. Hi, Sue. I'm
Hi.
Marta.
Hi,
Uh,
Marta.
I think a strategic voluntary is a way to connect people, like you said before, uh, be involved with a new work, with a new job, and it's interesting. Sorry, it's my dog. uh, yes, I think it is. It's a way to connect other people, interesting opportunities for
Mhm.
us.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Martha. I agree with that. I think it's a way to connect to your industry or to maybe something different than what you have done previously, or at least explore what that might look like in term or where your professional experience might fit. Yeah, here in industry. Thank you. I appreciate that. Approve. I see that you have your hand up. Please take the mic.
Thank you, Sue. I think you have covered it. And I was about to say, like previously, whenever I have volunteered, then I always think about my personal goal
Mm,
or the values I have attached. How can I fulfill through the volunteer work or the opportunity to gain some new skills at a very short time?
yeah.
If there are other priorities going on, the academic goal is the other one, like the
Mm,
personal, academic, and a professional goal. Um,
hmm.
those are like the keywords which comes in my mind when I think about strategic volunteering, of
Yeah.
how it can be meaningful to me and the other organization I'm volunteering for or the client. And yeah, those are some of my thoughts.
I
Thanks.
love that. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. All of those things are correct. I think, and I'm just going to show you our definition. So here we go. And you can read that, but the key words here are bolded. It's very intentional and it's planned engagement in specific kinds of activities to achieve goals or outcomes. And so when you think about that strategy, what it also means is that you need to understand from your own perspective, where are the gaps? What do you need to know in order to make decisions about where you might target that kind of volunteer opportunity or the organization that you want to work with? So it is very much around intentional and planning engagement. It's very much around understanding what is it that I know how to do, how can I apply those skills, but also learn more about the industry that I want to work in. Right. So strategic it requires you to do a little bit of work behind the scenes first to understand what that might look like. So as much as I love the opportunity for people to simply to join activities, and I think that's a really great place to make community for yourself as well and to start to feel comfortable. And I think especially for newcomers, it's a great way to meet other people, and we do need other people. We need to feel connected to our community. So dive into those experiences that you love, but then from a strategic perspective, understand there are pieces you can be doing to help you build out not just your resume, but the gaps that might exist in your resume. And usually that's around understanding what do I need to know to transition my previous experience to the Canadian market and maybe even specifically to the local market. So we provide a great resource for students, and I want to just let you know about this resource that exists on the Career Learning and Development site on the RRU website, and my colleague will put that link in the chat for you. But we have this great strategic volunteering work. It's kind of a workshop that you go through independently. It's an open education resource that you can go through independently to help you understand or at least write down pieces around, what am I interested in? What are the skills and abilities that I possess? What are the kinds of positions that I might be seeking? Where are the gaps? And then starting to explore what that looks like in terms of volunteering. So here's a few of the pieces that it goes through. That workshop, that Moodle Open Education course actually provides you with some really great tools, and I encourage you to explore that on your own if you're looking for writing that information down to figure out what your next step is. So it starts out with finding your spark and really focusing in on the pieces that you're interested in. Because if you're going to volunteer and you don't have a whole lot of time, you want to make sure that you are doing that with an organization that is going to fuel you or give you energy, give you a purpose, right? And often we're very connected to specific areas, specific topics. And so there often are a lot of not-for-profit organizations or other organizations that are helping us get connected to that community or help out with that community. So find your spark first. Then it's about, again, identifying those skills, right? What are the areas that you possess? And areas where you feel like you need to build out more capacity. And this is really interesting because in all good career management as well, it is one of the very first steps of understanding the next steps in your career is really like, what is it that I have to offer to begin with? So doing that sort of skills inventory, that capacity building inventory, understanding what it is that you have to offer, and then exploring industry and labor market to know those maybe job titles potentially that you are seeking in the future. Where are the gaps? Where are there gaps for you in terms of building out experience? Or from another perspective and labor market, who's doing that work? Right? Who is doing the work that that I could actually connect to, so that you can get closer to people who are also working within that industry, other professionals who share that same passion or same background. So sometimes the gap that some of our international students have is that lack of understanding of what industry looks like here in Canada. It's not the skill set so much, but sometimes it's really that I don't know what those titles look like. I don't know where those organizations are that might hire somebody with this experience, and so that can be part of your labor market research, even if you're doing even if you're looking at strategic volunteering from that perspective. So once you have an idea or a list of potential kind of experiences that you want to build out in the future, now you have a planning stage, right? Now you can start really creating your strategy and start to engage with organizations that will help you to build that out. So that is really part of how you look at strategic volunteering. Is it's very deliberate, right? And I always say to students, and I know some of you have already been in my career workshops previously, but the key in any kind of successful career management is finding out where you actually can take charge, right? Where you can take action instead of feeling acted upon by the world around us. We need to find ways that we can create action ourselves. What are the things that we can do to explore and to gain more knowledge? Because knowledge allows you to make decisions, right? Then you don't feel like you are that other people are acting upon you or the labor market is impacting in that way. What you want to do is figure out, how can I impact the labor market? What do I need to say? What do I need to do? How do I need to demonstrate this experience so that employers can understand what I bring to the table, right? And that's about really leveraging your success. Strategic volunteering can help you with that, either through that connection to the industry that you care about, or through gaining or developing those skills that you feel are gaps in your knowledge base in order to be successful in that transition. Let's bring it back to meaning, right? Finding that meaning for ourselves is really important. And I know so many of you came to Royal Rose because you have that intent to have an impact on the world around you, to be a change maker. So this is a great way, a tool, if you will, or a focus point, looking at some of those 17 UN SDG goals. Which one of these goals do you want to impact in the future? I guarantee if you choose one of these areas, you are going to find many organizations that are working on contributing to that goal in some way. So, where do you want to have impact? What's important to you in the world of work, in the world of developing your skills or having an impact at the end of the day? And so, this is just a way to target that. It's a great place to start. If you knew that you wanted to focus in on the UN goal of no poverty, number one goal, then you would do a bit of a search, like, who are the organizations, where are the organizations locally that are working towards reducing poverty in this community? And then you might choose an organization that's working with that client population. That can help you, again, to sort of target that. I'll give you a bunch of tools or a bunch of websites at the end that can also help you. So yeah, we've talked a little bit about, like, what is it that you care about? What aspects of your work or education are important to you? The other way you can look at this is consider the program that you're in and the projects that you might be taking on. Who's doing work in this area that you can connect to for the purpose of completing a capstone, helping them with their work, demonstrating the work that you've done that you bring with you. Many of our students are coming with such a huge, rich professional background in specific areas, and there's so much that they can contribute to the world around us, this local community. Why wouldn't people be interested in having that conversation? So for you, it's about figuring out who's doing that and how can I work towards connecting with those people who also have that same passion. You know, I think that's really, really important is you've got to find something that really motivates you. Otherwise, you don't want to spend a lot of hours there doing that, right? So find a place that motivates you, that gives back to you as well, and consider how can I get involved and build that experience. Remember also, I talked earlier about timing. You don't have always a lot of capacity at different times in your program, and that's because you also have many things going on. So some volunteer situations locally will ask you to be able to commit up to 4 months, up to 6 months of your time, and they'll give you a time frame, maybe 2 to 3 hours a week for 6 months. So you really need to take stock and be honest. Do I have the capacity to do that given all the other things that I'm doing? Sometimes you'll see on some of the volunteer organizations that they'll say they're open to providing you a reference, but only if you can provide that amount of time. So consider it that way. I have also previously encouraged students to consider getting involved on boards. To be able to demonstrate their leadership capability, and also that ability to work within teams and understand the administrative piece behind the scenes. So it's another way of leveraging your previous experience, stepping up to the table and demonstrating what you can bring, and also connecting with other humans in Victoria that also share your experience and your values. So consider, are there other places that you can look for strategic kinds of opportunities that maybe don't you're not committed huge amounts of time, but allow you to get very close to, at a higher level, some of those experiences. Of course, there's all those other experiences to clean up in the environment. We see that around our rural roads community all the time. You'll get lots of messages to come out and help us remove some of the bush that is not native to Victoria. And it's those opportunities are fantastic opportunities. Ocean cleanup, those things are also fantastic opportunities to connect with other people. But you may want to find not just those things, but other ways that you can contribute your expertise. There's also those that giving back to the RRU community. We always love to see students who can help out with our student engagement, for other new students who are coming, to help people learn about transitioning into rural roads as a community. Because once you're here, we really want to help you build out that community as well. You may not know, but many of these professional associations also provide opportunities for you to use your professional background to connect to people, but maybe in a much more a limited kind of capacity. Let's say, for example, the local chambers are offering various events and they need people to help out with setup. That is a great place for you to learn who goes to these events, and how, for some people, I have to acknowledge that for some people, they don't necessarily want to step out into a networking event initially, and they feel a bit vulnerable doing that. But if you are able to volunteer with some of your personal or your professional associations behind the scenes, and maybe just be contributing to various events that they're taking on, now you're sort of seeing things from the background. You're getting a bit of a lay of the land to understand who's there, and you're also giving back to your professional community in some way. So it allows that sort of easy, seamless kind of connection to other professionals in your industry. And there's many, many industry associations, professional associations that will be linked to the work that you've done previously. I strongly encourage you to reach out to those organizations, become members as a student, um, and then see where there's room for you to build out those volunteer opportunities to give back to that organization or those organizations, and then use that as a way to potentially understand, where else can I get involved? Can I, are there topics that people are continuously talking about that I can maybe connect to in some way, and use that for some research that I'm doing? Other job boards to watch are very definitely goodwork.ca if you are connected to the environment, environmental kinds of jobs, conservation kinds of work. And then not-for-profit, Charity Village is one of the best sites for not-for-profit. But again, that's going to be a site that connects you across Canada. You may want to stay more locally and look for local not-for-profits that are working in a specific area that you want to contribute to. And again, that goes back to which one of those UN SDG goals do you want to impact in the future? So, a few tips and resources. Resources, that strategic volunteering open education resource is one that I absolutely encourage you to explore, especially if you are building out that first layer of understanding where do I want to strategically connect? What are the things that I'm trying to practice? What is my goal with volunteering? That's really, really important to identify that first because that's going to help you to get closer to that experience that's going to fit for you. Consider becoming a campus ambassador, as I mentioned before. I think that's a great opportunity for you to connect with your community locally here. Get involved with student government to be the voice of students in and on Royal Roads. That's another great place to get involved. Volunteer Victoria has a really comprehensive website. If you are interested in learning more about various causes, if you go on to the Volunteer Victoria website, it can connect you to various causes that you might be interested in, and then identify the organizations that work there. They're a very comprehensive site, and actually they sometimes offer free webinars and free sessions for volunteers, which might be a great place for you to build skill set as well. And then also here we've mentioned Charity Village because it is one of the largest not-for-profit websites across Canada. Okay. You always have the opportunity to connect with a career advisor like myself. There are three of us. And so you can find us through LibCal. And we are very eager to connect with students and provide some career advice if you are looking at looking for strategic volunteer opportunities or helping to kind of hone into those skill sets or those abilities that you're seeking. Even if you're looking at building a career strategy, that's the work that we love to do with students. So you can also access more recordings from RRU Career Learning and Development. We have a YouTube channel playlist, and that will link you to previous workshops that we've presented for students. If you weren't able to catch other workshops, sometimes you'll get to see some of the people who were invited on campus through our various panels or guests that came on campus to give a talk. That can be a great place to start to build out your network or look at, who's doing interesting things that maybe I want to connect with.